All right, guys, welcome. Today, I would like to just discuss some thoughts I had on tariffs versus income tax, federal income tax, or tariffs, or even a flat sales tax, because they're relatively the same thing. This all started from a discussion I was having with a coworker, and it got me to thinking that wondered how changing from a federal income tax system to a tariff based or potentially a sales tax type of system would affect me and my budget personally. And I know the sales tax and the tariff, it is different. Tariffs could probably easier change versus a sales tax, but just wanted to, like I said, it's very basic, very crude, very rudimentary. Just I don't know, put it to paper and see if I thought one would be beneficial to me versus the other. So if you would stick around, hang out with me while I kind of talk through this. I'd love to know your thoughts and you guys' perspectives. I do not want to make this political. I don't care who you voted for or how you feel about the person in charge at the moment. But I just want to talk about this and how it might affect us in a positive or negative way. So I'm gonna kind of jump right in. This is all based off my loosely based off my budgets. $75,000 a year would be for the 2024 tax year. Finally, single, taking this standard deduction, you're gonna pay about $8,341, or you can look at it on monthly budget, $695 a month. So it breaks out to be, after you go through the different levels of our progressive tax system, it works out to be a total of 11.12% for the $75,000 per year. So kind of put things in perspective. I always like thinking about stuff like this. In this case, it kind of irritates me more than anything. But um, at 11.12%, 6.5 minutes of every hour you work, approximately 6.5 minutes of every hour you work, goes to federal taxes. 53 minutes for every 8 hour day, 231.3 hours per year based on a 2,080 hour work year. And that works out to be just over a month of working days that you are spending every year of your life to give the government, just the federal government money. This does not include FICA, which is Social Security, and Medicare. Does not include state or any local taxes either. So it's just it's frustrating to think about it in that way, but that's just how my brain works. So based on that, that gives us a monthly working budget of $5,555. So that's what I will base part of these calculations on. So here is my basic, very basic monthly budget. Housing, $1,500 a month, and that includes my homeowner's insurance. Utilities, insurance, that's my homeowner's insurance, auto insurance. And then, of course, we got to take the FICA taxes out, state taxes, and property taxes. I live in the great state of Illinois, so property taxes are some of the highest here. And then we go on to food. I spend roughly $500 a month in groceries and going out to eat. Vehicle payment. I don't have a vehicle payment right now. I could here shortly. I haven't decided, but most Americans do, so I kind of just threw that in there. Fuel costs, $250. That's on a light month. I usually hover between 250 and 300. And then everything else, between clothes, any electronics, anything household, really anything, 500 a month. So it makes my total expenditures right around $5,030. And out of that $5,555 income, that leaves me $525 each month to save, invest, if I have to take the animals to the vet or whatever. It's savings, so I have a cushion, I guess. Now, if we were to go to some sort of flat sales tax or a tariff-based system, my expenses aren't going to change, right? They're in the perfect world, they wouldn't change. You're going to pay more for some stuff, but to stay within budget, you have to cut back, right? So, based on the same expenditures, I kind of broke it out how I felt taxes or tariffs, the sales tax or tariff would affect my monthly expenditures. So, my housing, I've already purchased my house, so I wouldn't expect either a tariff or a sales tax to change my monthly payment, right? So that one got left in the left column, so not affected by tariffs. Utilities, I don't expect that. All my utilities here come from within the country. Insurance, again, taxes, and I went through my refrigerator and my cabinet, and almost everything that I could find in there was made or grown here in the country. I'm in the Midwest, so there isn't a whole lot, I don't think, imported, at least not that I eat. There may be some, stuff from Canada and Mexico, but that'd be about it. And it's a pretty low percentage. On the right-hand side, I have my expenses that I thought would most likely be affected. So if I were to go out and buy a new vehicle, it would obviously be affected. If I bought a used one, the whole theory that if new car prices go up, used car prices are going to follow because, less people will be buying new, more people will be buying used. So I just figured that in there. Fuel, I'm assuming we would, be paying, there'd be tariffs on fuel and fuel prices would go up. We don't use the oil that we produce here in North America and the United States to make gas and diesel fuel and that kind of stuff here. It's and I'll probably get this wrong, but I want to say it's a light crude, and our refineries are set up to process a heavy crude. So almost all of the oil that we produce gets exported, which means we have to import everything that we use. Now, the more we produce, the more that offsets what we bring in price-wise, right? So, more we send out, the more money we get, the more we buy, the more money we spend. So that I would think those would offset them to some extent. Left it over here on the right column though. And then anything else that I have. So the clothes, electronics, and like I said earlier, the $500 a month. This is based on a flat 25% tariff. So right now they've talked about doing 25 to China and 10 to Canada and Mexico. But I'm just going to a flat blanket 25%. That's the only way I could see we would ever do away with the federal income tax is if they went to a flat tax, tariff, whatever. And I'm sure it would have to be even higher, 25%. I just went with that just to, I don't know, it was a number. So based on this, my expenses stay the same, but I now have more money in my pocket. I have $907.50 versus $525 each month left over to save or invest. So based on those numbers, I'd have an extra $382.50 left over each month. If I were to just invest that $382 a month for 10 years at 10%, I'd end up with an extra $80,000. That's big to me. Now, again, these numbers there's a lot of assumptions here. This stuff would probably never work the way I have it here on paper, but it was a neat little project for me to kind of think about. Overall, I like the idea of being taxed on spending versus income. And here's my reason for that. To an extent, you have a choice as to how much money you're going to spend. You have a choice on how much money you're going to make as well, but the more money you make, the more money you're giving to the government. The more you spend, the more money you're giving to the government this way. But if you don't have to spend your entire budget and you get to put that extra in savings, that allows you to put more in there to let it compound quicker, and you have the potential to save up a lot more money by investing it, whether it's stock market, real estate, whatever, invest in it, than you do if they take it right off the top. And that's the part that I like. I can if I can control my spending to the point where I have more money to save, it's going to grow quicker. I'm going to be able to retire earlier, potentially, or buy more things and pay more of the taxes. The other part I like about it is right now, pay your taxes based on your income. You pay the lower, or at least the middle class, and the lower upper class seem to pay a majority of the taxes. Once you get up higher in those tax brackets, yeah, the percentage goes up, but those people have more things at their disposal as far as loopholes, so that they don't have to pay as much. As a general rule of thumb, the more money you make, the more money you spend. And I feel like we could, I don't want to say recoup, but we would get more money out of the highest earners throughout the country just off of what they're purchasing. Personally, the sales tax thing has a better ring to it than me, because then you kind of know where you're at. It's not like a hidden tax. Sales tax, you could do, I feel like they would probably not tax your groceries and your pharmaceuticals and at the same level as they would consumer goods or luxury items. Let's impose a luxury tax on vehicles that are over, $120,000, or on yachts, that kind of thing. That way, it's kind of, in my opinion, a little more fair across the board. I don't think we should go after the ultra rich and make them pay more. Like, you're in a higher tax bracket, you make more money, you need to pay 80% of that to the government. I don't agree with that, but they have the choice to spend that money on these things, knowing up front that it's taxed this much to go to the government. I feel like that's a much better way of doing it, in my opinion. Now, I understand it's going to be a lot harder for our government to budget based off that, whereas income, they know how much everybody's, they know what unemployment rate is, they know what the average income level is for, each person, basically broke down to each person. That's going to be harder to do because there'll be more stuff affecting sales and how good the economy's doing and that sort of stuff. So I can understand that being a bigger budgeting issue, but I'm sure it could be done. No, that whole conversation at work just got me thinking about this, and it was neat to kind of sit down and put this on paper on the screen and see what it could look like potentially, or see how much of my time that I spend every day at work goes to the federal government. But find it interesting. I would like to hear your thoughts down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who have way better ideas or can explain to me why this wouldn't work. I'm just a nobody. I'm not a economist or an accountant or an attorney or anything. So just my mindset. But that'll do it for today. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me and going through this. Please, like I said, I'm trying to get monetized, so please like, subscribe. All that stuff helps. Share, comment, all that good stuff. But if you guys have any other ideas, have any other questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see what we can come up with. Maybe I can do some different videos. I have no clue where this channel is going to go or anything. This is not something I even planned on talking about, but after my conversation at work, I decided I'd give it a shot. So thank you guys again.